Good to see everybody. Second day of pads today, our fourth practice overall. Good work. You know, I thought it was, what always happens every year is you get the first day of pads, and as you guys could imagine, everybody's extremely spirited and ready to go. And then the second day, you're like, okay, is there going to be a dip? And I thought it was a good opportunity for our kids to say no dips. You know, throughout the middle of practice, started getting a little heavy, and I saw a comeback. So that was really nice to see out of the kids. Individually, George Morris ran the ball well today. He sprung loose on a couple plays, and it was great to see, and had good burst. Devontae McFarland did a nice job as well. He had a couple good plays inside, and he was really good in his pass protection as well, which is one of those things as we've watched both George and Devontae develop. It's been a point of emphasis, and it was good to see. It was good to see both those kids come out and play well as a whole. As a whole running back, if you will. Other guys, Stevie Ishmael's catching the ball really well, running good routes. I was real pleased with Ben Lewis today. We put some concepts in where he had a chance to go up and make some plays and did. On the other side of the ball, Rodney Williams had a nice pick six for about 30 yards. Jawan Dowles, he had one yesterday on a cover two concept and did a nice job stealing an interception for a touchdown. Zaire Franklin's playing well. He's fitting the run extremely well. He's gotten bigger and stronger, done a nice job working with Coach Hicks and the strength staff, and you can see it on tape and you can see it live on the field. So I was pleased with Zaire's work today. And then the other guy was Paris Bennett. Paris Bennett had a very good practice. He's been getting better every day. I've really liked the way he's matured and approached his process, if you will. So nice to see Paris Bennett, playing up to his ability level. So good spirited practice, a good number 4. Now we got to bounce back and have a great number 5 tomorrow. So
first day of full pads tomorrow.
We have full pads, and we have we won't take anybody to the ground yet, but there'll be a little bit more physicality inside.
Considering all the injuries last year, how much do you back off on the full padded workouts and contact?
Not a whole lot. I think more than anything is quantity versus quality type of talks that we've had in the off season. So a bit fewer reps, but when we need to, have the intensity there, we will.
You gave 3 of the walk-on scholarships.
No, I didn't. I did not give anyone a scholarship. They earned it.
What was the moment?
Big difference.
Sure.
Ask them.
What was the moment like telling them that?
Well, to be honest with you, I kind of previewed it or foreshadowed it a couple months ago with those kids, so they knew it was coming. But it's always gratifying to see a young man work hard and earn the opportunity to put himself on scholarship. And the thing that those 3 young men have done is they've been consistent in their whole livelihood. When you talk about strong character young men that work hard in the program, those 3 are great examples. They do a good job with their off-season work and their presence and their extra work, all 3 of them. They're all very good students, and you never worry about them outside of football with their social life. So it's easy to award those types of players that are well balanced in their character.
Talking about Cam specifically, I know he's kind of on the 2 deep right now, and as you like to say, that does fluctuate. But what has he done in the spring and now early in camp to really have you guys trust him?
Well, he's doing a good job. He's consistent, just like he is as a person. I don't think he's gotten anything but A's since he's been here at Syracuse, which is pretty impressive. But more than anything, he knows where he's supposed to be. He's solid. He's not great at anything. He really isn't. He'd be the first one to tell you that. But he's consistent, he's solid, and the trust factor is extremely high with Cam McPherson.
You talked a lot about winning a day by day before
That's
the season
right.
started. Are you seeing that? How much can you see this early?
Yeah, so far, I think we are. And a lot of times, Mark, it's not necessarily just the practice. It's not necessarily just between the 2 white lines when you go on the practice field. It's how are you approaching everything you do. Are you winning in the training room? Are you taking care of your body? When you have extra time, are you getting in the cold tub? Are you working at staying fresh? Are you hydrating? Sounds like a simple thing, but when you get extremely tired in 2 days, it's hard. It's hard to focus on the little things. And some of those little things are, how you're working in the weight room when you're tired, how you're working in the training room, and how you're working in the meeting room especially. And for me to see guys around the facility getting extra work with, you can never watch all the videotape. We work long hours this time of year, but you can never get to every picture for every kid. And when you see some of those kids coming up on their own, spending time in the meeting rooms alone when the coaches are staff meeting, it's gratifying to say, hey, we're winning the day in those situations that maybe are a little bit outside the box. And I've been pleased with that and seen a lot of kids putting in that extra effort.
We've seen John Raymond limited with injuries. Is there any update with him?
No, he's he'll be, I guess we're calling it week to week type of thing, but he'll be back. It's just a matter of how quickly he heals up. And in the past, John's healed really fast. So hopefully those genetics continue to take over.
So where Tim Lester said he's surprised when anybody blocks Ron Thompson. For a guy who came in converted tight end, where's he at? What do you see from him?
He's doing a good job. He's got great get off. He's learned to play with techniques. He's got some change-up moves in passing game. And by playing inside some last year, I think there's a higher degree of toughness. Anytime you're getting double down on as a 3 technique like he did last year, you learn that. So it's nice, I think, that there's more singular blocks going on, and that's when your athleticism can take over, and you can see that out of Ron.
A lot of people are focusing on Irv out of the hybrid. You mentioned Ben. Do you think he could be one of your more physical runners?
Who's that, Ben?
Yeah.
I think both Ben and Irv are both physical runners. I was interested to see, kind of the trial in the spring with Ben running the ball. But he's a good, strong, physical runner. He put great numbers up in the weight room, and you can see those coming out on the football field.
What do you think his biggest strength is at that hybrid spot?
He's bright. He's a smart player. He knows his strengths, and he understands his limitations, and he doesn't put himself in situations to try to do things that aren't natural. So I think he's a guy that is well aware of who he is as a football player. He's physical, for a guy that was a wide receiver, bringing him in there on some of the backside blocks, cut blocks on the backside. You see him put his hands on you and maintain and sustain blocks, which is always probably the biggest concern when you're taking a skilled athlete such as Irv and, both Irv and Ben, and then some of our young guys, Dante Strickland. He's a very talented young man. He's done some things at that position as well, which he actually played in high school, a very similar role. But to see those guys, as they get older, like Ben Lewis, understand who they are and work really hard at the areas that weren't their strengths. We always talk about, want to accentuate the positives, your strengths as an individual player, and then whisper your weaknesses and go really hell-bent on your work ethic and taking those weaknesses up to a level so there's no weak links in your game. And that's probably what Ben Lewis has done, is he's taken his strengths, accentuated them, knew that he was going to be carrying the ball more and blocking more from an inside alignment, and worked really hard in the weight room and put a bunch of good numbers up. And then with his how-to techniques and some of the things that we're doing that are a little bit unique, he's worked really hard with his footwork, and you can see it on tape. So anxious to, put some of those things on tape here and have you guys get a chance to see him here. And I think in Fan Fest, can't wait to get the fans out. Sounds like we're going to have a lot of fans come out to it. Hopefully we'll have good weather, and those fans can come out and see some of the things that we're talking about.
How much more of the offense do you think you guys are going to show? Maybe that within the spring?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot at Fan Fest. Yeah, not a whole lot.
Scott, you brought up Dante Strickland. Some of the other guys maybe that have shown out in that incoming class so far.
I like the offensive linemen and the defensive linemen a lot. I like all of them. I think they all have a chance to be very good players someday. Now someday, when's that going to be? You just never know. But after 2 days of pads, I like the way those young offensive linemen play together. I like the athleticism on the edge with the 3 defensive ends. Kadir's a very good athlete. Amir's a very good athlete. Pickard's just he's just a go-hard guy all the time. So I feel good about those guys. And, we'll kind of see as we keep moving forward with the offense, some more of the skill sets will, kind of be recruited upon, if you will, throughout the course of the schemes we're running, where we'll have a chance to see some of those things. But all in all, I think it's a very good class.
Tim Dowse was complimentary of Matt Keller yesterday. Just what have you seen from him?
Yeah, well, he's snapping it really well. He's the ball gets back there really quick. You know, we had a great one in Sam Rogers, and you didn't talk about him much because he was consistent. You know, what do they always say? A good long snapper, you never know who he is. You know, a good one, you don't know until he's gone, and the next one isn't as good. I think Matt Keller has a chance to be pretty good. I'm sure we'll have some butterflies in that opener, but you know, that's part of the process. He's worked really hard. You know, he's not the most gifted athlete running down the field, that sort of thing. But he's really grown. If you look at him, he's grown a lot. He's put some good muscle mass on. His body weight has changed to the point where there's less body fat. Not that he was a fat kid at all, but you know, he really took it to heart. Worked extremely hard. Will Hicks was the first one to point out that he was one of our best workers in the summer, and it's great when you hear a long snapper, you know, working that hard at his craft, and he's done just that.
Two more questions. Now you talked about Paris. What if guys like Jonathan Thomas and then Ollie Vigil shown since the spring for that third linebacker spot?
Right, yeah. Well, we got a little bit of a battle going on between those guys. Ollie can play inside and outside. Coach Lee does a great job training them at all three positions. And, you know, throughout the course of practice, you'll see those guys bouncing around, which is good because it shows their football IQ. I think Paris is probably the best athlete of them all. JT's probably the fastest straight line guy, and he's got a nice sense of physicality. We had an outside zone. It looked like Irv was going to turn the corner, and all of a sudden he put a knife in it and set the edge. So that was good to see because he's still a young guy, you know, in his second year of playing. And then Ollie's working more in the box too. So I think all three of them have done a good job. I think Paris probably is a little bit ahead of both of those guys as we speak here today.
Early impressions of Stephen Clark?
Stephen Clark's going to be a very good football player. He is a strong young man. You know, for a freshman, he's fighting those double teams, and he can run. You know, just like we saw off his high school tape. You know, he comes from a smaller school in Alabama, and didn't get heavily recruited until we exposed him as a player, and then everybody tried to come in and steal him those last 3-4 weeks. And that was hell on wheels, man, for a few weeks. But I think he's going to be a very good football player. Now, he's a freshman, and he's playing the toughest position to play as a freshman. But stocks up on Stephen Clark.
Last question for Coach.
You see Denzel Ward, looks like he was limited today. What's going on with
He's got a lower body injury that we're looking at. It's something that's carried over for a while. It's been nagging or chronic, as they would say in that room. So we're getting him checked out good, and you know, we'll just have to see what's up. But these young guys have picked up definitely picked up the workload, and I'm pleased with these new guys. So good. All right, good to see you guys.
Thank you, Scott.